Hello, my name is Marcus. I will be presenting from the book Understanding Accounting Ethics by Shepard and Pacala, Chapter 5, Scenario 1. I chose this scenario because it is something that I believe is very relevant to the accounting industry, especially the auditing industry. I also chose this because I have had some experience with this, I feel, from an internship that I have with one of the Big Four. The situation in the book is laid out as Suzanne, who is a recently hired staff accountant. She is participating in the audit of Easy Company. She is auditing 60 different loan files against 15 different criteria. She's doing this in order to have an assessment of the collectability of these loans. She's working closely with a senior named Will. He's doing a similar job with a similar procedure using those 15 different criteria. Will seems to get his work done a lot faster than Suzanne, and this is kind of concerning to her. She knows that there is a budgeted hours of 40 for her to complete her loan files. At the rate she's going, she thinks it will take her more like 80 hours. She approaches Will after work one day about the situation and how he gets through his work so fast. Walking away from that conversation, Suzanne has the underlying feeling that Will is just sampling the loans that he's assigned and isn't completing all of the procedures on all of the loans. His justification for doing so, according to what Suzanne feels, is that is what the partner and the manager would prefer because they would want the job to get done on time and in budget. After getting this advice from Will, Suzanne seeks the advice from 4 of her friends. First, she seeks advice from Andrew, who is an entrepreneur. His advice is to follow Will's advice. After all, he is the in charge, he is the senior. Follow his advice and don't do all the procedures on all of the loans. She is a CPA after all, and she has had training, so to use her best judgment and use risk assessment in that way. She also seeks advice from Boris, who is a student studying accounting. His suggestion is to do all of the procedures, check all of the loans against all of the procedures, but if it takes her 80 hours, only charge 40 hours for that, only bill that to the client. She also seeks advice from Kathy. She's an auditor at another firm, and her advice is to do all of the procedures on all of the loans. If it takes her 80 hours, then charge 80 hours as billable hours. In doing so, this will give the manager on the job next year a better estimate of how long this should take the company, and it will help in the future. Lastly, she speaks with Drew. He says that you should do all of the work and use all of the procedures against all the loans that you can. Once you reach the 40-hour mark, when the billable hours is what is budgeted, you should approach the partner. At that point, ask the partner what they would prefer for you to do. In doing so, Drew says that you shouldn't mention anything about why you are skipping Will and his advice. Don't mention any of that to the partner. The book suggests a resolution which lies somewhere between Kathy and Boris's advice. The book dismisses Andrew's advice as something that would be not appropriate, as she would be engaging in unapproved risk assessment, especially as a new accountant. That is something that shouldn't be done. Also, it is not providing the required information or the expected information to the managers and the partner on the job. Following Drew's advice would leave the partner in a difficult situation because they would think that the job was getting done within the budgeted 40 hours up until that 40-hour point. In my experience, as an intern at one of the Big Four firms, and my resolution that I suggest is that she should stay true to the CPA code. She is a certified public accountant, and she is looking out for the best interests of the public. She shouldn't be concerned about the partner or the senior's best interests, and she should do the work and compare all the loans against all the procedures. She should work efficiently. As an intern, I found that there's a fine line between working efficiently and spinning your wheels. She should seek to work as efficiently as possible in doing this job. She is part of an engagement team, and as an engagement team, I experienced that if one person is having a hard time or struggling, the rest of the team picks up the slack. This should be true for the situation with Will, but she should not compromise her integrity. She should work as hard as possible and as efficiently as possible, doing all of the procedures. She should seek advice from a mentor within the firm about the advice she received from Will. In doing so, she can find out the firm's policies, and she could figure out how to proceed going forward. She should also update the in-charge on the status of the project throughout the project and not just at the end when the budgeted hours have been completed. I think that overall she should stay true to her ethics. She should check all the procedures, and that she should work together with the team and with the senior in order to provide the best outcome for the public because she is a certified public accountant.